A still photo of preschool-age children in a circle time setting, listening to the teacher, holding up a book called Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. A title below the photo reads, English Language Development with Home Language Support.
So say it again with me.
The still photo becomes live video as the teacher reads the book aloud in Spanish. English embedded captions appear on screen throughout the video. The voiceover speaker is identified on screen as Linda Espinosa.
Chicka, chicka.
The second approach would be a primarily English language approach with instruction and interaction, primarily in English, with continued home language support as well.
Las letras están subiendo.
Porque las letras están subiendo, sí, sí.
Was one little bird.
A group of adults and children sit outside on the ground in a circle. Dr. Espinosa's voiceover continues.
And typically, if you have a program with a monolingual English-speaking teacher or 5 or 6 different languages in the classroom, then you are going to have a primarily English language development approach with support for home language.
An adult and child in the classroom look at picture cards. Dr. Espinosa appears briefly on screen, followed by the group of children and adults seated outside in a circle.
Cuenta las uvas, 5 uvas. ¿Puedes contarlas?
And I think the important thing there is to understand that all teachers,
1, 2, 3, and it's frío.
regardless of their own personal language background, can support all home languages, because there are many strategies where you can incorporate and bring those languages in the classroom to support and value and continue their development.
The speaker in an office setting is identified on screen as Marlene Zepeda, Ph.D., Professor Emeritus, Department of Child and Family Studies, California State University, Los Angeles.
One of the major prerequisites for teachers, all teachers, but particularly for teachers that are working with dual language learners where they don't know the language, is their disposition to learn about the culture, to learn about the child, to show that warmth and consideration, even when you don't know the language of the child and you don't know the language of the family, to go out and search for resources to help you, to find people that can help you understand the language and the culture of the child.
The primary languages of the families that we serve tend to be Spanish and Cantonese.
The speaker, seated in an early childhood classroom, is identified on screen as Louise Piper, Child Development Center Coordinator.
In each of the classrooms, we have recruited and thankfully retained staff that speak Spanish and Cantonese.
The speaker, in an office setting, is identified as Renee Amezquita, Principal. As she speaks, a teacher shows a book to children seated on the floor in a circle time setting. Other adults among the children are labeled on screen as assistant teachers.
In the green room, both of the teachers are monolingual. They have a little bit of Spanish, but they're monolingual. So all of the assistants in the classroom speak Spanish. So the teachers will teach it in English, and then the assistants support.
Brian, ¿quieres hacer este?
An assistant teacher sits at a table with a preschool-age child looking at picture cards. Dr. Espinosa reappears.
Teacher!
No?
Teacher!
¿Quieres ir a por otro?
It's not all English language development. Clearly that's a goal and an important goal, but we can't do that at the expense of what this child already knows about language.
Many of our teachers speak a variety of languages.
The speaker, Elizabeth Crocker, sits in an early childhood education classroom.
And we try really hard to place the child with a teacher who speaks their language. But if we can't get that match, then the teacher really works with that child to make sure that there's activities that are not language dependent, so that child really feels part of the classroom and feels safe to practice with English, and make sure that the parent knows that their language is really important and part of that child's learning.
The voiceover speaker, Louise Piper, later appears on screen. Several children sit together outside on a rocker in the grass. An adult moves the rocker with their foot.
For dual language learners, we have to be intentional
1, 2, 3.
and very thoughtful. We also want to plan our program with purpose to be sure we're providing the supports that our young dual language learners need, especially in the areas of language and communication skills.
An adult sits with several preschool-age children looking at a bird cage on the table in front of them, as well as a book about birds, specifically a page on different birds' feet. A child points to the pictures of birds' feet in the book.
I see these feet.
You see those feet.
Oh, where's this feet?
And does Twitter have feet too?
Yeah. He's on one leg.
That's right. He only has one leg now. You're right. Is that something different than other birds?
With Teacher Lottie, where's his other leg?
You guys see have you ever had this?
Several children and adults sit at a round table eating food. Louise Piper's voiceover continues.
Parents sit down and kind of work out with us words like greetings, shoes, jacket, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm sleepy. Those are important things if we're going to support children and help them feel comfortable to be able to know and say in home language.
Elizabeth Crocker reappears on screen.
We want the child to have strong home language so that they can continue to learn at their age-appropriate level so that their academics match.
A child sits in an adult's lap.
And says, "Puso huevitos la mariposa."
And that's why we have a strong parent involvement component.
Credits. Adapted with permission from the California Preschool Program Guidelines DVD series, a product of the California Department of Education, developed by West Ed, copyright 2013. California Department of Education with West Ed. A special thanks to the programs and families without whose help this video series would not have been possible. The CDE logo appears in the lower left of the screen. The West Ed logo appears in the lower right.